Tales of the Mushroom People. It has been well chronicled that Poison Pie, man of the Mushroom People, lived deep within a massive forest. It was either the cause or the result of this fact that he was also known as Deus Silvus. But he was not the only man of the Mushroom People. Poison Pie's cousin, Doomshroom, lived on the mudflats bordering the West Sea. He succumbed to a gloomy disposition and had a predilection for mumbling "doom" in a low and somber tone in response to virtually any inquiry. Moonshroom dwelt on rocky cliffs, which reminded him of his distant home. It is rumored that the cap on his head was a functional flying saucer, and that he had 2 sets of teeth, one sharp and the other smooth, which he switched out depending on the occasion. Roboshroom lost himself in the density of the world's largest cities, where no one batted an eye at a passing robot. In fact, all the other feral robots mistook him for one of their own, offering him a place to lodge with abundant electronic detritus. Among the Mushroom People, Freakshroom lived in ways that baffled even his own kind, such as practicing austerities in the warmth of the morning light while swaddled in the spring petals of the Moglione tree. Plumeshroom was a mushroom of fire. He was hasty and hot-headed. He frequently found himself regretting his rash actions in setting things alight, which usually prompted him to take his fire and hide among the clouds in the sky. Other Mushroom People were more down to earth and more closely resembled members of the kingdom of fungi. For example, Strawshroom was a collective consciousness sprouting from a cluster of mushrooms. False Morel lived in the mountains and lured unsuspecting hikers up inviting stone trails deep into the heart of the forest, where the paths eventually disappeared altogether. There, False Morel hoped to convey his own sensation of being lost to the travelers. One of Poison Pie's oldest acquaintances, Stinky Squid, perched on his swampy throne and nostalgically thought of his kin, perpetuating the eternal cycle of fruiting and sporing that he had, over the course of years of the perfection of wisdom, come to eschew. And what do mushrooms dream of? When I was walking through the forest with Turkey Tail one soggy morning, I asked him just that question. He replied, "Mushroom dreams are, like mushrooms, ephemeral, inscrutable, and ruminant." I hope we've cleared that up. When Mushroom People get together, they enjoy walks along shady lanes, just as we do, although they move much more slowly than we are accustomed to. It suits them because the thoughts they share along the way take form in their minds at a languid pace. Sometimes they plot world domination at the top secret global headquarters of the Mushroom People, a crystal palace that doubles as a botanical garden. Sometimes they just pretend that they are regular mushrooms and stand around and perform the honest mushroom work of fungal decomposition. But sometimes they go crazy. This particular story begins when Poison Pie's cousin, Princess Pie, went out for a stroll and didn't return. She was given to wandering, and no one would have worried except there were reports that the dreaded villain, Zombie Shroom, had been seen roaming the countryside. He had a reputation for kidnapping mushrooms and hauling them off to the world of the mushroom dead. Poison Pie issued a proclamation summoning the heroes of the fungal realm to find and, if necessary, rescue Princess Pie from the nefarious clutches of Zombie Shroom. The brave and fearless Moonshroom immediately offered his services. A stranger approached and introduced himself as Snowshroom. He hailed from a distant land, but had heard of the predations of the loathsome zombie shroom and vowed to do his all to end the reign of terror. Doom Shroom stood off to the side and mumbled, "Doom." Nobody was sure if this meant that he was going to help or not. Neither Moon Shroom nor Snow Shroom were too keen on the partnership. Each wanted to single-handedly rescue the princess. Nevertheless, at Poison Pie's request, they set off on their quest from the palace gates together. Within the kingdom lived an oracle named Crystal Shroom. Some folks believed in the healing power of crystals. Others believed in the spiritual power of psychedelic mushrooms. According to reports, Crystal Shroom embodied the best of both worlds. Naturally, the heroes sought him out for advice. Crystal Shroom told the heroes in a whisper, "The gateway to the world of the mushroom dead lies in a cave on the coast far to the south. If Zombie Shroom has indeed kidnapped Princess Pie, then that is surely where he has taken her." Moon Shroom and Snow Shroom journeyed along the river deep into the mists of the southern wilderness. They maintained their strength by reminding themselves of the mortal peril in which Princess Pie was trapped. Coming to the coast, they searched cave after cave, looking for the entrance to the world of the mushroom dead. Our heroes explored many caves until they were sick to death of bats and swore never to spelunk again for as long as they lived. Despite their exhaustive search, they did not have any success in locating the gateway to the world of the mushroom dead. It was only by accident they stumbled into good fortune. Myxomycetes was an outcast, expelled from the kingdom of fungi during the great biological reclassification turmoil of the 1960s. It and other slime molds now resided in the kingdom Protista, which was located far to the south. It had never gotten over the shock of the expulsion. When our heroes related the noble purpose of their quest to Myxomycetes, it told them that although its feelings were still hurt about the expulsion, it would nevertheless reveal to them the location of the entrance to the world of the mushroom dead. Following its instructions, Moon Shroom and Snow Shroom climbed an ancient bridge high into the clouds. Just for a moment, a gust picked up and cleared the fog from their vision. Leaning over the edge of the bridge, they caught sight of movement in a clearing below. "That's Zombie Shroom," Moon Shroom shouted. Hearing a voice from above, the mushroom scurried into the tree cover. Our heroes hurried from the bridge, scrambled down the ravine, and gave chase. Our heroes found Zombie Shroom guarding the entrance to the subterranean world of the mushroom dead. In his defense, he had received no instructions as to whom to admit and whom to deny entrance, so he had to wing it. A terrible battle ensued. Thunder rumbled in the heavens. A chill wind blew across the land. The earth trembled at the exchange of each mighty blow. In defeat, Zombie Shroom admitted he had no idea what they were talking about. He had not kidnapped Princess Pie, but he was never one to turn away from a good scrum. Whoa, dead end. Our heroes hadn't seen that coming. Moon Shroom and Snow Shroom apologized to Zombie Shroom and headed down to the coast, where they stared out toward the horizon, wondering what in the world to do next. Just then a voice called out behind them. "Hello? Is this where we pick up the ferry to Jeju?" It was their old friend Straw Shroom. He told them he was going to Jeju because it was a place of formidable loveliness, ideal for leisurely strolls. It dawned on our heroes that perhaps Princess Pie really had just gone on a stroll, as she often did. Where better to go looking for her than on Jeju, an island renowned for its strollability? Thus thinking, they set off for Jeju. As lovely as Jeju was, it was an island not without danger. It was patrolled by stone grandfathers, or dolharubong as they were known. The dolharubong had peculiar culinary habits, particularly when it came to mushrooms. "We must be cautious," Snowshoe said ominously. Our heroes booked passage to Jeju. Soon the island drew near. Sure enough, as they disembarked from the ship, they were confronted by two dolharubong, herding rocks on the beach. The grandfathers fixed the visitors with a stony gaze. Moonshroom explained they were looking for Princess Pie. "Is she here?" Snowshroom asked. The dolharubong grumbled to each other in a strange language. "Perhaps she is our guest. If so, she stays willingly, rest assured." They turned to leave. Our heroes decided that something suspicious was going on. Poison Pie hadn't sent them all this way to give up so easily. They secretly followed the dolharubong into a nearby cave. "More caves," Snowshoe lamented under his breath. After what seemed like hours stumbling through the darkness of the cave, they emerged in a primordial forest. If it had not been for the heavy lumbering steps of the dolharubong, our heroes would never have been able to follow them through the mist. Deep in the forest, horror of horrors, they passed a mushroom farm. They vowed to return one day to free their kin, but for now they had a quest to fulfill. Our heroes stayed on the trail of the dolharubong and followed them down into another cave. In the utter darkness of this cave, our heroes lost track of the dolharubong. They wandered for hours, growing more anxious with each passing minute, until they saw a speck of light which they followed to an opening from which they heard voices. Moonshroom and Snowshroom emerged from the cave to discover that the voice they had heard belonged to none other than Princess Pie. They'd found her. Now who was she talking to? Doomshroom! Before our heroes could register their surprise at his presence, they were treated to another shock. The dolharubong had been following them in the cave and had now snuck up behind them and attacked. The dolharubong dragged our heroes back into the maze of tunnels. The echoes of battle reverberated throughout the mountain. Eventually, the tussle spilled out onto the beach. A ferocious battle ensued. Snowshroom froze one of the dolharubong, and Moonshroom rammed the other with his flying saucer cap. Mothers covered their children's eyes to shield them from the hellacious violence unleashed that day. Eventually, the dolharubong ran out of energy and simply lay down on the beach in exhaustion. Moonshroom and Snowshroom were too tired themselves to celebrate their triumph. As they walked back to the port, Moonshroom asked, "What happened to you?" Princess Pie said, "Nothing happened. I went for a stroll and lost track of the time, that's all." "For 3 weeks?" Snowshroom thought to himself. Snowshroom asked, "How did Doomshroom find you?" Princess Pie replied, "I didn't just run off. I told him where I was going before I left." Our heroes looked at Doomshroom, who simply said, "Doom." Princess Pie bid a fond farewell to Jeju. "I have very much enjoyed my stroll." They boarded a boat and headed to the mainland. Their long journey back to the capital was relatively uneventful. When the travelers arrived at court, they discovered that Poison Pie was hosting a peninsular peace conference. He kindly extended an invitation for them to participate. Following the official business, they had a disco party late into the night. The end.